1,
2,
3,
4.
Monster movie.
Fun time, go! Monster movie.
Fun time, go. Monster.
Movie.
Fun time.
Go!
Monster movie. Fun time, go.
With Precious D and Honeybee.
Fun time, go!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and neighbors, welcome back to the show. I am your host, Precious D, and this is day number 20 of 31 Days of Horror. With me again to discuss Fright Night Part 2 is my good friend Kiki Michaela. Say hello to the folks, Kiki.
Hello.
Fright Night Part 2 from 1988. It's in color, it's 103 minutes, and it is directed and written by Tommy Lee Wallace, who is not the guy that did the first part.
Changing it up.
The original, Tom Holland is supposedly working on a new sequel that will ignore this sequel,
Interesting.
but I don't know what the current status of it is.
Do you think
But
he'll
it seems
cast
like
the new Tom Holland and double the Hollands?
No. He's planning to have everybody back. that
Oh,
he did not.
okay. Well, that would be cool too.
Everybody that's still alive.
Oh, true.
Yeah, Roddy McDowell's no longer with us. I'm pretty sure he's no longer with us.
Oop.
Now that I say that, pretty sure that's the case. Now I got to double check. Yes, Roddy McDowell was a British American actor. So
Gotcha.
there you go. Fright Night Part 2 stars William Ragsdale as Charlie Brewster, Roddy McDowell as Peter Vincent, Tracy Lind as Alex Young, Julie Carmen as Regine Dandridge, John Grease as Louis, Russell Clark as Belle, Brian Thompson as Bosworth, Merritt Buttrick as Richie Green, Ernie Sabella as Dr. Harrison, Josh Richmond as Fritzy, and Blair Tefkin as Bernice. The budget was $8 million. The box office was $2.9 million,
Ooh, that's tough.
which may be the reason why their plans for a third movie in the series did not happen. Did I mention? Yes, the last one made $24.9 million.
Yeah, that's a significant
So-
drop.
Yeah. Yep. Not great. I mentioned last episode that you can watch this on YouTube for free. You can't watch it anywhere officially or legitimately, so don't feel at all bad about going and watching this bootleg on YouTube, which is a very high quality bootleg, by the way.
Agreed.
Someone got it directly from a TV station or something, because it had a really bad DVD release, and then there is the version that was nicely cleaned up for television, and that must be what we're watching on YouTube. Don't know why it's never been properly released on Blu-ray or anything. Maybe it still will be on.
Yeah.
Seems like the kind of thing Shout Factory would be all over.
It seems like you would do like a nice little like 2-pack, like get both movies
Yeah.
in one DVD or something like that. But maybe if they really
Mm.
do come out with the new sequel, maybe they'll like re-release it as like a super cool platinum catch the old stuff before the new one comes out
Yes.
thing.
We need a 4K 2-in-1 set of both of these movies.
Hell yeah.
So, what are your initial thoughts, Kiki, on Fright Night Part 2?
I liked it okay. I didn't like it as much as the first one. I thought the first one was pretty good, and it was a pretty consistent story. This one to me was a little messier. I think just because there's more vampires, there's a little bit more moving parts to it. And I also am not a huge fan of sequels that basically put the characters back in the same spot as they were the first time around.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically in regards to the whole psychiatrist stuff of like basically him convincing him that all of that stuff was fake. Like that really irritated me. I did not like that at all. It just felt like there was no growth for Charlie, and yeah. So
Yeah, it starts out with him in therapy, recapping
Yes.
the first movie and acknowledging that Dandridge was just a serial killer, not a vampire,
yeah.
which does kind of put him back at square one. Also, he has a new girlfriend, so he's back at square
Yeah.
one
I-
with that.
I know it's just because the actress, like I looked up and I saw that it was because the actress was busy with, what did you say, it was Married with Children that she was on?
Was she on it
Yeah.
already at that point?
Yeah, well, it said that she was tied up. The first draft had her scheduled to come back but then she got tied up with Married with Children, I think is what it was, or something. I think it was that.
Okay.
And so she couldn't come back. So then they rewrote the part for Alex. And I understand that it's because of a scheduling conflict, but I feel like we see this so often with media where like you have the main guy back and the girl's interchangeable, especially because like I feel like that's a pretty traumatic experience that Amy went through. And like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that would trauma bond you. Like, I mean, I know they were teenagers and like people break up,
Right.
people move on, but it just felt very much like her arc wasn't important. We're just gonna throw a
Right.
new girl in here, and it made me a little mad. Not gonna lie.
Yes. And yet he and Peter are still.
Yeah, even though he doesn't believe in vampires anymore, he's still friends with him. Like it was a weird setup.
Yeah. But the result is that he is now still in the beginning of his relationship. He hasn't moved forward. It hasn't developed yet. So that's annoying. I don't have any problem with the actress. She does a fine job.
Yeah, I thought she was good.
I don't know what else she's been in. I didn't.
Yeah, same problem as last film. I don't know any of these actors from anything.
Looks like she hasn't been in a whole lot. She's retired now.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
You mentioned something about the 80s clothes in the last one. This one, very 80s.
Yeah, it ramps it up.
But I noticed that Charlie's outfits are very neutral.
Yes.
He would not look out of place anywhere from like 1950 to now.
Yeah, I think
he's just got sweater, button-down collared shirt, blazer, pants. The lapels on the blazer are not too wide or too thin.
Yeah.
He's got a very neutral looking outfit.
I was wondering if that was. Oh yeah, so the vampires get like out there. I was just wondering if maybe they were trying to like, because there's like 3 years or so, like it's like real time kind of, because there were 3 years in between movies and it's supposed to be like 3 years in between. And I was wondering if maybe because he was one of the only returning characters, they were like, we gotta show time has passed somehow. Put him in adult clothing. I don't know. That's my theory.
I mean, he's in college now. I can't remember what he's wearing in the first movie. I just noticed the contrast of his very temporally neutral clothes.
Yes.
To the very 80s things that were happening with other people. And then, of course, Roddy McDowall's wearing his totally outdated but very classy vampire hunter Inverness cloak throughout the movie, as he does in the first one. So, 3 years after the first film, 20-year-old Charlie Brewster, as a result of psychiatric therapy, now believes that Jerry Dandridge was nothing but a serial killer posing as a vampire. As a result, he comes to believe that vampires never existed. This, of course, is our summary from Wikipedia. Thank you, Wikipedia. College student Charlie, along with his new girlfriend Alex Young, go to visit Peter Vincent, who is again a burnt-out vampire killer on Fright Night, much to the chagrin of Charlie. Charlie's been putting off talking to Peter because Peter has not been going to therapy and knows that vampires are real and is reminiscing about that time we killed that vampire.
Mm-hmm.
While visiting Peter's apartment, man, talk about... this really does just go back over the same ground as the first movie, because he looks out the window and sees...
Literally,
coffins.
Literally almost beat for beat at the beginning, with the exception of the therapy session.
Yeah.
It's almost the same.
He sees 3 large crates being offloaded from a truck, and these are clearly coffin-shaped crates.
Once again, not
on the way out from Peter's apartment. Yes, just stop looking out the window, Charlie.
True. The real moral of the story.
Yeah, never look out the window. On the way out from Peter's apartment, Charlie sees 4 strange people walk past him into an elevator. Charlie instantly becomes drawn to one of the 4, the alluring Regine Dandridge. Charlie drives Alex back to her dorm and begins to make out with her, only to see himself kissing Regine and pull away. He also parks on the wrong side of the street, just in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
This bugged the hell out of me.
It's a strange choice.
It was just a weird place to park, and he was on the wrong side of the street. An upset Alex storms off, not realizing that something is following her. Another girl leaves the dorm as Alex enters, and she is followed and killed by one of Regine's vampires. Belle. That's the roller skating one, right?
I think so.
Androgynous. There's this one androgynous roller skating vampire.
Yeah, the other ones kind of, I got confused with them.
80s. Well, there's Brian Thompson is the big guy who eats bugs, and he
Yeah.
identifies the Latin name of each of the bugs before he eats them.
Yeah, that guy was kind of
He
weird.
may or may not be. He seems like he's some kind of a Renfield, not a vampire.
Yeah, that would make sense because I mean, when like he dies at the end, it's like a very different death than any of the vampires. So
Yeah. Well, he kind of seemed a little similar to Dandridge's Renfield guy.
true,
Jerry's
yeah,
Renfield guy. They're both Dandridge.
yeah, true.
Jerry's Renfield. And then Louis is the other one, and he's just sort of a long-haired
Yeah,
douchebag with
he-
receding hairline who uses a wolf motif when he's doing vampire stuff.
yeah,
Climbing walls in a almost werewolf form. Anyway, Alex, meanwhile, is unaware that Louis, another in Regine's group, is scaling up the wall outside her window. But he is startled and falls when Alex inadvertently slams the window shut on his hands. Well, actually on his fingernails, breaks them off. Bosworth, a bug-eating servant of Regine, makes fun of Louis before consuming some bugs. He says, "You're supposed to bite her in the neck, you asshole." I don't know how he wasn't invited in, though. I don't know how he thought he was going to climb through.
I
the
know.
window.
It was kind of. They didn't really think that through. I think they just wanted her to crush him.
Maybe he just wanted to be a peeping Tom.
Could be.
Later that night, Charlie dreams that Regine comes to visit him, only to turn into a vampire and bite him. The next day, Charlie talks to a psychiatrist, Dr. Harrison, who assures him that what he dreamed was only natural. Alex finds Charlie bowling per doctor's orders, and Charlie agrees to go to the symphony with her. On his way there, however, he sees his friend Richie Green with Regine and opts to follow him. I recognized him from stuff,
Really?
but I'm not sure which. Let me see. Merritt Buttrick. Oh, he was on Square Pegs.
Have not seen
And
that.
then he was also, I believe, Kirk's son. Yes, he's Dr. David Marcus in Star Trek II and Star Trek III.
Oh, okay. I have
So,
seen Star Trek
there you
2.
go.
It has been probably a decade at this point. I have not seen 3.
You know, Shatner's going to be at the Wagner screening Star Trek II
Oh,
in like,
really?
December. Yep.
That's
He's
actually
gonna be
really
doing, like,
legit.
he's going to be doing question and answer and stuff.
Shoot, I might have to do that.
Yeah, I might too. Okay, where was I? He sees Richie Green with Regine and opts to follow him. Charlie climbs up to a fire escape outside of Regine's apartment, only to be horrified when he sees Regine and Belle attack and drain Richie's blood. Charlie runs off to find Peter, and the two of them arm themselves with crosses and crash Regine's party. Doesn't it take him a while, though, to talk Vincent into going?
I think so, like at least a little bit.
Yeah, it turns out. So Regine is presenting herself as some kind of performance artist, and she's having a big party. There, Charlie finds Richie, but is shocked to find him alive and well with no bite marks on his neck. Regine makes her entrance, doing an erotic dance with a mesmerized Charlie. She introduces herself to Peter and Charlie and claims to be a performance artist in town for some shows. Satisfied that what he thought was Regine attacking Richie was nothing but an act, Charlie leaves when he remembers his date with Alex. Peter elects to stay behind, and while looking around, he notices that there are people in the corners of the room biting others on the neck. Noting the odd behavior, he draws his pocket mirror, exactly like he did in the last
Yep.
movie, and finds that Regine and Belle, who are dancing in the middle of the dance floor, cast no reflections. Storming out of the party, Peter runs into Regine waiting for him outside. As he runs down the stairwell, Peter again comes face to face with Regine, who reveals herself as a vampire, the sister of Jerry Dandridge, and has come to take her revenge on both Charlie and Peter. Peter runs back home and hides, but she's just teasing, and she should have done him in right then.
Yeah.
Could have. She's playing with her food, so it was a
Mhm.
mistake.
Classic.
Resolving to tell Charlie in the morning just what has transpired, or what has just transpired. Charlie, meanwhile, after being turned away from the symphony, because he's totally late, returns home and falls asleep. They failed to mention that Dum-Dum, Louis shows up at the concert and buys her other ticket
Yeah.
off of... Since Charlie's clearly not showing up, he's like, hey, you wouldn't happen to have a spare ticket. So he spends the evening with her, and he tries to date her later.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much of that is him just trying to get close to her and how much, because he seems very excited about everything. So I think he's just really into her, regardless of whatever the plan is.
Yeah, he's been instructed to go get her and bite her, and he keeps drawing it out and seems to want to actually date her instead of just because the other guy keeps telling him, you're supposed to bite her on the neck, you asshole. Let's see. He falls asleep only to be visited by Regine, who bites him on the neck while he sleeps. He didn't invite her in. How did she get in?
True.
Charlie, content with the explanation that Regine is a performance artist, is once again in denial. He begins to discuss the situation with Alex when Peter arrives to try to warn the couple about Regine, but neither believe him. Peter states that he has warned them and runs back to his home, packs his belongings, and departs. Meanwhile, Charlie has started to show signs of being a vampire as he's becoming sensitive to garlic and sunlight. There's a whole thing with him biting into a pizza and having to spit it out. And he's wearing sunglasses like you do.
Yeah, totally.
After failing to talk to his psychiatrist, he overhears a news report about Richie's body being discovered the previous night. Now believing that everything is real, Charlie goes to see Peter, only to find that Peter is gone. Louis is once again stalking Alex. Louis reveals his true nature to Alex and Charlie and stalks them in the school library, only to flee after Alex injures him by cramming wild roses, which are harmful to vampires, into his mouth, which she knows because she's sped read Dracula, after Charlie insisted it's a really good book and you should actually read it.
Mm-hmm.
Alex and Charlie are then arrested by campus officers. We don't see that, though. They're just suddenly in jail. It's not clear what I guess they got in trouble for tearing up the library, but it's a little unclear to me why they're in jail, because they could have just run off and nobody would notice.
Right. Yeah, I don't think there would have been an issue with that, but they're in jail because they need to be in jail, I guess.
Peter, meanwhile, is also arrested by the cops after he shows up on the set of Fright Night, attempting to kill. So Peter gets fired from Fright Night again.
Yep.
And they hire Regine. Apparently, as part of her revenge, she steals his TV show from him.
She's going all the way.
And does a performance art dance piece that's fog and blood and stuff and howling wolves and whatever. And at the end of it, he rushes her, tries to kill her, tries to stake her. Folks, when you're trying to bum rush a vampire and stake them, don't yell.
That irritates me so much when people do things like that. I'm like, you've lost the element of surprise.
Yeah, you don't need to give him a heads up. You could just start running. So he gets arrested and ends up at the state hospital. Alex is bailed out by Dr. Harrison and goes to post bail for Charlie, only to find he's already been bailed out by Regine. Alex and Dr. Harrison head to the state hospital when the doctor reveals that he is in fact a vampire. That's why he works so hard to convince Charlie that vampires are not real. So I don't know how that came about.
Yeah.
Was that a coincidence, or did Regine somehow...
I know she planted him from
orchestrate
3 years ago.
Yeah. Because he's probably been in therapy this whole time. Did Regine somehow arrange for him to go to the vampire psychiatrist?
Yeah, she called up his insurance and was like, if you let him go to any doctor except for this one, I will come and I will kill you.
Yeah. He tries to bite Alex, only for her to turn the tables on him and run him through with a piece of wood. She then assumes his identity as a doctor. She doesn't quite drive it far enough, though, and he has to finish the job himself. She impersonates her and tries to have Peter released from the hospital. A distraction intentionally caused by one of the hospital's patients, Fritzy, who actually believes Peter's story about him being a vampire hunter, allows them to escape the place. They're all very impressed when Peter Vincent shows up at the hospital. All the patients are like, it's Peter Vincent. Alex and Peter head to Regine's lair in order to save Charlie. They find a disoriented Charlie who is slowly turning into a vampire. They rescue him and manage to kill a now undead Richie. At least they flipped that part.
Yeah, I'll give him that.
He's becoming the vampire, not the girlfriend.
Yeah, I was really worried they were going to go the same way. So I will give them that, because everything else so far has been the same.
Yeah. Belle, Bosworth, and Louis managed to kill a now undead Richie, Belle, Bosworth, and Louis before confronting Regine. They go to a church and stock up on a bunch of stuff. They get some communion wafers and the altar covering and use that kind of stuff. She attempts to escape from her coffin, but finds that Charlie and Alex have lined it with communion wafers. Regine knocks Alex unconscious and attempts to turn Charlie into a vampire, but Peter destroys her with sunlight. So even the way the vampire is dispatched is the same as the last movie. Sometime later, Charlie and Alex discuss the previous day's events, with Alex joking that no one would ever believe them. They ponder if there are more vampires out there, but agree to continue on with their lives while being prepared just in case. They embrace each other as a bat can be heard flying away. And they are both wearing crosses now, which
I did notice that. That was kind of a nice.
should have been doing
The whole
should have been
time?
doing all along.
Yes.
Yes. If I were in a world where vampires were real, I would have crosses tattooed to my neck.
No, yeah, that's the smart move.
Yeah. So possibly my forehead as well.
just for good measure.
Yes. So there we go. Fright Night Part 2. It's got a death count of 9.
One up.
So there you go, folks. Kiki, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it was alright. I just am so disappointed by that they didn't try to do much different about it. I will give it, I mentioned that I thought Jerry was kind of a lame vampire name. I think Regine is much better of a vampire name. I will give her that. But I just would have liked for them to do something different, like, now that he has the knowledge. Like, you could have done a cool, like, buddy cop type movie with Peter and Charlie. That would have been really cool. And they just didn't do that. They just rehashed it, and it's just so disappointing to me. What they did was fine. It was just too close to the first one.
I would much rather have seen them actively hunting vampires.
Agreed.
Or other things, which apparently is what they do in the comic book.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well.
That I have not read. It reminds me of The Mummy, the Brendan Fraser Mummy.
Yeah.
I wanted to see the further adventures of Rick and Evie. I did not want to see The Mummy 2. I wanted them to go out and do other things with other supernatural creatures, not just fight the same guy who's trying to do the same thing that he did last time.
Yeah. I think a lot of sequels fall into that problem.
They kind of do in the third one. They find
I
a
remember
different
if I've
sort.
seen the third one or not.
It's sort of about a mummy, but it's like a Chinese version of a mummy
Okay.
rather than
Yeah, it's
just
a little
the
different.
same dude again. So, and it's a different woman playing Evie.
Oh, awkward.
Which they could have done in this movie. They could have just recast Amy.
Right, yeah, just have her be the same character. Like, I mean, a lot of movies get away with that, so.
Yeah. Some TV shows have entire
True.
seasons with a different actor or actress. All right, so how many pumpkins are you going to give it?
I think I'm going to give this one a 2.5.
Oof.
Yeah, I just
Ouch.
really did not like this one. It had some good points. I liked the fight sequence at the end a little bit, like the way they killed her with the mirror. Like, I know they still use sunlight for it, but I thought that sequence was really cool, and I thought that the actors
that's right.
did the job.
She's at the bottom of an elevator shaft, and
He's like holding up this like big
Peter's
piece of glass.
way at the top.
Yeah,
he finds a piece of shattered mirror.
I thought that was
and
pretty
directs
cool.
the sunlight down the shaft.
It's a little bit more like in control than the first one, I feel like. So like I will give it points for that. And I liked Regine. Okay, I thought the her trio of bad guys were just meh, and having more vampire-esque people just kind of makes it messy. So there were still elements. It still had the 80s synth that I liked. The actors were good. That end sequence I thought was really nice, and I liked that they switched it up and made Charlie turn. But everything else, there was just so much of a rehash of the first one, which you would think would be like, oh, the first one was good, so therefore I like this one. But no, I've already seen it. If I wanted to see that again, I just rewatched the first one.
Right. Yeah. I'm still going to give it a 4. I gave the first one a 5. I'm going to give it a 4 just because I love Peter Vincent so much.
Valid.
Just happy to see him again.
He's possibly the best part of the movie. I will give you that.
And I think there's just, for me personally, there's just a nostalgia factor, I think.
Yeah, I suppose that's fair.
Bumps it up in the rating that you would not be susceptible to.
Yeah, that's fair. If I'd watched this growing up or something, maybe I would have a little bit more friendliness towards it, but having just watched it literally like a day ago, not there.
I did kind of enjoy Julie Carmen as Regine.
Yeah, I thought she was pretty good.
She was all right. She apparently is in Tales of the Walking Dead. Playing Alma.
Okay. I've never seen.
It looks like one episode.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it just says episode La Doña, so I think she's just in that one episode. But that was just this year. So good for her.
Oh, nice.
Still working. All right, that is going to wrap it up for this episode in our 31 Days of Horror marathon. Stick with us all month long. We will be wrapping this all up on Halloween with Halloween Ends. And I'm not going to say too much about it now, but I have a special interview lined up for that episode in addition to Honeybee and I discussing the movie itself. So more on that later. Thanks again for joining me, Kiki.
Thanks for having me on. Always a pleasure.
Folks, follow us on all our socials. We're still trying to have a giveaway on Twitter. I got a stack of DVDs and Blu-rays here that I'm looking to give away, but we need more Twitter followers before I'm going to do it. You can find links to all our socials at mmftg.bio.link. So, thank you for joining us. Until next time, I've been your host, Precious D. Kiki Michaela has been my guest host.
Woo.
Remember to keep calm and seek shelter in basements. And whatever you do, do not misuse science. We will not see you, but you will hear us next time on Monster Movie Fun Time Go. You've been listening to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and review us on your podcasting platform of choice. Our theme song is by the Texacato Folk Rock Punk featuring Lita Lopez. You can support the show, find links to our social media, and even leave us a voice message at anchor.fm/mmftg.
Fun time go!